Before deciding which style and cutting technique to apply on our model Veronica, David Volt Baker has conducted a thorough consultation to decide what face shape, hair abundance, diameter, formation, and condition he's working with. David creates the Hyper Bob style from the Kawaii collection on Veronica. Separate the hair using the Hyper 3C technique, 3 curved lines that divide the hair into 2 sections, an internal and external section. After having separated the right side transversely, divide the first strand horizontally, distribute it downwards, and cut horizontally. Separate the second strand in the same way, distribute it over the previous, and cut along the guideline. Proceed with the haircut over the entire right section, cutting each strand along the guideline. During the cut, keep the palm of the hand facing outwards, giving a slight graduation of the full line, thus lightening the perimeter of the shape. On the following right side, starting from the transversal line, separate the first strand with a rear diagonal, distribute it perpendicularly, and cut following the roundness of the head. Separate the second strand with a rear diagonal, distribute it perpendicularly, and cut following the created line. Proceed in the same way with the following strands, separating a rear diagonal and cut following the guideline. To increase the definition of the transition line of the graduation, distribute the last strands from the rear right section downwards, and projecting the hair to 45 degrees, cut following the guideline. Prepare the first strand from the front left side horizontally, check the symmetry of the shape, and cut horizontally. Proceed in the same way over the entire left side. Repeat and mirror the same procedure on the front left side. Separate the rear central area with a right diagonal, projecting the strand to 45 degrees, and cut, defining the transition line. Proceed in the same way with the following strands. Inverting the separations, repeat the same procedure on the opposite side. Dry the hair using a comb for natural movement in the external area. This classic haircut, revisited with a modern twist, creates a well-structured and flexible shape. Define the rear perimeter using an electric hair trimmer. On the right front side, take a vertical strand from the transversal area, project it to 180 degrees, and using the point cutting technique, thin down the density of the hair. With a horizontal separation, take the top part of the front section, project it to 180 degrees, and using the same technique, thin down the density of the hair. On the chosen area, keep the blades of the scissors perpendicular to the head and cut using the channel cutting technique. Repeat the same procedure on the opposite side. This technique thins down the sides, giving greater versatility to the movement of the hair of the inner section. In the internal rear area, separate the first strand horizontally, project it to 90 degrees, and using the point cutting technique, define the length and the line of the shape of the rear internal section. Proceed with the second strand. Distribute it perpendicularly and projecting it to 135 degrees, cut in the same way. Repeat the same procedures with the last strand, projecting it to 135 degrees. In the front internal area, separate the first strand horizontally, project it to 45 degrees, and using the point cutting technique, define the length and the line of the shape of the internal front section. Proceed with the second strand, distribute it perpendicularly and projecting it to 90 degrees, cut in the same way. Conclude with the last strand and projecting it to 135 degrees, cut in the same way. Personalize the perimeters of the internal section using the slide cutting technique. The hyper bob style creates a mix of strong lines with a fun and feminine effect, inspired by 90s pop. To complete the hyper bob style, Veronica was coloured using the diamond diffusion colouring technique.